And if you come with me, Georgie, you'll fall too. You'll fall too. You'll fall too. Oh! Sorry, I just saw It Too 2 days ago when it came out, and it was awesome. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's get right to it. It Chapter 2, one of the most anticipated films this year, and it was amazing. It was what I thought I guess I knew what I thought it'd be, but it was more than what I thought it'd be. There were some things that could have been better. There were some things, but overall it was unbelievable. Amazing. And it was a 2 hour and 45-minute film, which is a long film, and I felt like it wasn't enough. That's how good it was. I wanted more. And it kind of sucks that it's over, but I've been hearing a lot of interviews and stuff. There's always that mythology of it. So even though the Stephen King series is over with those characters that we know of, unless they decide to do something else with their kids, or I don't know. But even though that series is over, there's still a mythology with the character Pennywise. And I'd be very surprised if they didn't dive more into that. I don't know how. I'm not really one with the mythology. I don't know all these things, but there's definitely a mythology. He comes out every 27 years. I think he's only in Derry. I'm not sure if that was the only place he was. If he went somewhere else, then that would be a good place to explore a new story. That'd be cool. So let's get right into it. So the plot of this story, this Chapter 2, which isn't a sequel according to them, according to the creators, the director, even Stephen King himself, it's the second half. So it's all one intertwined story. It's just the 27 years later, but it's part of the same story. And I actually just got the book a couple months ago. It's a very big book, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to read the whole thing. I kind of have taken a break from it for a while, but it actually switches back and forth from the kids to the adults. So in It 1, we'll call it It 1 and It 2. In It 1, you just had the kids. Then in It 2, it was the adults. And then you had flashbacks of the kids, but those were flashbacks. It was mainly the adults. But so, and what I just picked up on, which I guess I didn't really look much into it, but I just realized in the book, the kids, they're living in the 1950s, and then the adults, when they come, it's gonna be the 1980s or something. In the movies, the kids are from the 1980s, and then now the present time is in the 2000s. So that's kind of cool. I just realized that. And what made me pick that up, first off, I was like, oh yeah, those kids aren't dressed up like they're in the 50s. And It 1, they were dressed up like the 80s. I just wasn't really thinking about that much. But in the beginning of It 2, it actually opened with the brutal. It was horrible. I mean, it was a fascinating and it was a good scene because you know what I mean. It was emotional and all that, but I mean it was horrible what they were doing to him when they were beating up the gay kids, and it was very modern. It was so modern. Those kids were just all acting so modern. They were dressed up modern, and I was like, what? This isn't the 1980s. And I was like, oh yeah, the It 1 was in the 1980s. It 2 was in the 2000s. I guess It 1 would have looked a little weirder if it were taking place in the 1950s. I don't know. But okay, so the plot of It 2 is it's 27 years later. You have the Losers Club. They're all adults now. They're all doing their own thing. And I gotta say, with this movie, I'll probably mention this again, but I gotta say this now. The character development is freaking incredible, and it's just insane because you have okay, you have 7 losers in the club. You have 7. Oh, by the way, there's spoilers in this, so just saying. But I don't think we said anything major yet. But there's spoilers, so we have 7 kids in the losers club who are now adults. There's 7 of them. That's a big main cast. They're all the main characters, so that's a big main cast. And then you got Pennywise. Then you got Henry Bowers. You got there's like a kid that they introduced. There's like a couple kids that they introduced. Beverly's husband. There's a bunch of characters. Even the little. Then there's the flashbacks of when they're young. There's so many characters. But I felt at the end of the movie I was connected to each one of these characters, and I could see who they were and what their past life was, what their feelings are towards society, what their goals are for the future. Like, I know all their motives because like that's how good sorry, I just woke up. That's how good the development was of the characters. That like I was able to see all their motives. I was able to understand all the characters. There was no one character which was like, yeah, but why would he do that? Or like, I don't really understand what his deal is. Like, I understood everyone's deal, and that's a very difficult thing to do. And I give, what's his name? Andy Muschietti or something? The director? I'm sorry. I probably should have done my research. Andy Muschietti or something, who directed It 1 and It 2. I give him props for being able to develop those characters in the little time that he did. Because, I didn't read the whole book of it. I'm literally on page like 50 out of like 2,000. But in the book, obviously, there's a trillion pages to develop these characters. But you only got a 2-hour, 45-minute film to develop all these characters and make you care about all of them. And you have all this stuff going on. It's not just like you have you have to do the horror stuff too. It's not just developing the characters. There's like a horror aspect too. You got to scare the people, but then you're also telling the story. So I give props to them. And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge horror guy. It's not that I'm scared of horror, but I am scared. Oh, by the way, guys, I wore the red on purpose. I literally changed my shirt for this interview because this discussion, because the boat. Not the boat, the balloon. What am I saying? The balloon, the red balloon. So that's why. By the way, it's not a coincidence. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I'm not a big horror person. I get scared of horror films, but I won't not watch one because I'm scared. I'll watch it. I'll just have trouble sleeping, and I won't be able to sleep. Just like what happened with this movie. And I really don't watch horror films. I just don't have an interest. I like Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Back to the Future. Those happy films. And like Kung Fu Panda. But the reason why I find it so interesting is because it's more than a horror film. There's a story. There's a real story. And also it's like a Stranger Things kind of it's like a Stranger Things E.T. kind of film. Not E.T. I'm just thinking about the kids on the bikes, but it has like a Stranger Things kind of feel. There's like I like the ones about the kids because I'm a kid and I can relate to these kids. Obviously for me, I'm more able to relate to these kids than the adults who are relating to the kids because I'm actually a kid. So when it came out, it won, and it's the kids. I found that interesting, and they're on the bikes and stuff. It's like a real, it's a real. There's a story. There's a story. It's not just like Annabelle is a doll who's trying to kill people. There's a real story, and then there's the horror aspect too. But there's a story with it, and that's why I was drawn to this particular franchise, even though I'm not a horror person. But I just found it so the first one so interesting, and with the second one, I knew they were definitely you could see in the trailers they were doing flashbacks. You could see there was going to be a lot of connections, and there was a mythology which I just found really interesting about this. It wasn't just man who's trying to kill people. It's like there's a mystery to it. You have Pennywise. There's such a mystery. You have these adults now. There's history and there's struggles. So you're really connecting to these characters. So that's why I find this film and these films so intriguing. Now, with It 2, takes place 27 years later. You got the Losers Club all grown up now. And what I was very surprised what they did. I knew there would be some sort of flashback or whatever to when they were kids, but there were a lot of flashbacks when they were kids. There were a lot of flashbacks, and it was like new footage. Like they used like de-aging technology on the kids to make them look younger. And like, you know, a lot of these kids are like going through puberty and stuff. So like their like voices are changing and they have to play like a younger one of themselves. I heard a bunch of stuff. I heard like the actor for Eddie, the young actor, his voice changed so much. They wanted to get him a different voice actor. And I don't think they did. I don't think they did, but I don't know. I'm not sure. He said that, but I don't think they did that. Which I'm glad they didn't. That would be kind of weird. I didn't brush my hair, so sorry. But and then I've been watching some reviews and people discussing the movie, and I was very surprised that a lot of people didn't like the kids. They didn't like no, not that they didn't like the kids. They just thought that the story should be more focused on the adults and less on the kids. But I really liked the callbacks to the kids. Because that was the they mentioned, like, you know, the reviews that I saw were from adults. You know, I'm a kid, so maybe I'm just biased because I like the kids because I'm a kid. But I relate more to the kids, and I thought all of those scenes really developed the characters, and they kind of showed you more of the adults. You know what I mean? It showed more to feel for the adults because it's the same character. You know, they're the same people. Obviously they go through stuff and whatever, but you know, but I thought this film was incredible, and oh my god, in the theaters it's hilarious. I like we were sitting next to like this like family, and there was like they were with like their little like 10-year-old daughter. She was like 10 or 9, maybe like 9 or something, or 8. I don't know. She was really little, but her parents took her to see this rated R movie, which wasn't that rated R. It wasn't like hugely rated R. There were some brutal scenes, but you know, it wasn't like, because it's more about the story. It's not just about horror and death and all that, even though it is, but there's a story. So I guess it's not the worst rated R movie, but there's some brutal scenes. But they took their daughter to see this movie, and we were sitting, like, there was like one seat separating us, and there would be scenes where like I knew the jump scares were coming. I knew they were coming. Like literally, like, you know, what happened in the beginning of the film when they all came back to Derry. They were like, they split up to go to their different places to find their different artifacts that meant something to them, which they would have to sacrifice eventually in the final showdown. And you know, when each person went to go do that, they would have an encounter with it, just like in the first movie, when before they all came together, like they would have like individual encounters with it. Same thing happened here. So you knew, like, you know, you see like Richie go off on his own, and now you're following Richie. You know something's coming. Then they literally like quiet the music, and it's like, I knew, like, it's like there was one scene where Richie was off, like, you know, and then he was like on his own, and Pennywise came and like floated down and like was like right here. And then this is Richie and this is Pennywise. Richie's like closing his eyes saying, this isn't real. and then like the music stops, and then like Richie opens his eyes, and Pennywise is like, oh, like it was like a jump scare, and I screamed, like I didn't scream, but I was like, oh, I'm like, and meanwhile this little girl doesn't do anything the whole movie. Like she was talking during the movie, which was kind of annoying. She was like asking her parents a bunch of stuff, and like I understand you're curious, but it was very loud, and like they could have told her like, come on, like, because like I was trying to enjoy the movie, it's like I got so scared, and she didn't even flinch. Like the thing with this film in particular, like Pennywise, like the jump scares scare me. Like, if I see Pennywise just there, he's not gonna scare me. When I'm lying in bed at night and I think about him, which I do, he terrifies me. I picture him like literally like lying in bed next to me or standing over my bed, like freaking haunting me. But I find like sort of a fascination with him. Like there's just something that's really interesting, like how he's with the kids and the fear aspect. He's trying to like season them. I just find that really interesting. But then the jump scares terrify me. And this little 8-year-old girl is not even saying anything. Like she's not like, I don't see anyone like, oh, like it was me. Like I would literally, like, I'm not trying to make like, I knew I would like flinch and stuff, and there were times I flinched, but like there were a lot of times where I actually yelled out loud, like, and like I don't know if anyone saw, but like I was like, it was like crazy. Yeah, okay. So now they're all so we have the Losers Club. They're all doing their individual things in their life. You have there's a lot of characters. I might get it all wrong. Bill is a film writer, which I thought was pretty cool. You have Beverly, who's living with an abusive husband, which she lived with her abusive father, so she just can't get away from that life. Well, until when she went to Derry. But then you have Richie, who's a stand-up comedian. Let's pause it right here and talk about Richie. Oh my god. Bill Hader is unbelievable, man. Oh my god. Finn Wolfhard, who played young Richie, I thought he was great. He was just, if you watch him in Stranger Things, if you watch Finn Wolfhard in Stranger Things, you just wouldn't picture him pulling off that Richie persona. You wouldn't picture him pulling out like that cursing, like dirty language, all that, but he pulls it off like really good in it. And that's a tough character to follow. And you have Bill Hader who comes in, and what's so cool about it is the young cast actually predicted a lot of the people who would play their older selves. Sophia, I forgot her last name. Sophia Lillis or Lily? I forgot her last name. Who plays young Beverly, wanted Jessica Chastain, I think it was, to play her older self, and she did. And Finn Wolfhard wanted Bill Hader to play older Richie. My bad, adult Richie, adult Richie and adult Beverly. I know they get mad when they're called old. So sorry, they're not old. They're just older, but they're adults. They're adults. But with Richie, man, he was hilarious, like, as a kid, and now you have Bill Hader, who, like, I thought, like, I saw in the interview, it was like, it's, like, kind of a different Richie. But, like, it really wasn't. It was really the same guy. He was hilarious. The whole movie, he was just making all these jokes, and they were genuinely funny. Like there was, like, one of the funniest scenes was when they were at the restaurant. They were like eating at the restaurant, regrouping for the first time, and they were all like making jokes and stuff, and like Eddie and Richie are going back and forth like F you, like, and it was like, they're cursing at each other, but it's like a friendly cursing like they did when they were kids. So it was really funny, and like, then it got serious, and Richie's like, so Eddie, what do you do now? Like, what's your profession? And Eddie's like, well, I'm a risk cis person. So what I do is basically, and then Richie's like, like it's just like funny, you know. It was just funny. The only thing is in that the final confrontation with it, there were some jokes made that took me out of it, you know? Like, there were some jokes made that took me out of it with Richie, because, like, come on, they're about to be killed by a clown. Like I don't think in the first movie he was joking. I don't think he was making jokes like that. I don't think he was making jokes like that when they confronted it, because it was a really scary thing. But he was just making jokes, and I guess he wasn't as scared anymore. But I think he was scared. But yeah. So that took me out of it a little. It was kind of an excessive amount of jokes. And then it was like always when they were kids, when it showed the flashbacks of them as kids, they were always cursing at each other, which I was like I understand, like, you're trying to show the friendship, like they're so close that they could curse each other and whatever. But like come on, like I would want to see like a little more connection. But I mean, I guess it was just those couple flashbacks that they showed. It was fine. That was just a little nitpick. But man, at the end with Richie and Eddie, that was really sad. When Eddie died, oh my god, I was like getting really teary. And meanwhile, the girl next to me, the 8-year-old girl, is just like, and I'm like, Eddie. So but yeah, that was horrible. Oh my god. And he was finally like brave, but like, you wanna know when I thought he actually died? When he got stabbed in the face with the knife. Like, how does he not die from that? Oh my god, stabbed right here. Oh my god, by Henry Bowers, which let's talk about right now. I thought, first off, the casting choice for him was amazing. Second off, like, that was crazy, you know, like, to show the young Henry. There was a bunch of scenes with young Henry, who got arrested for killing his dad, and now you see him in the mental institution when he's older, and he's still as crazy. And then his friend, his best friend, who's dead as a zombie form, comes up to him and like gives him the knife, like, you know, to go like kill people, and like now he's gonna go kill the losers. I thought that was scary. I thought that was awesome to have that second villain. I just thought it should have played out a little longer. I thought he kind of got killed off quick, you know, because, you know, with those types of villains, like, you want them to just keep coming back. But, you know, he had that first confrontation with Eddie, and then he escaped. And then the next confrontation with Mike, he just died. He got killed by Richie. I would have liked Ben to be the one that killed him, because Ben, I mean, I hate to say that, but like, sorry, Ben, like, I know you don't, like, you're not a killer and all that, but Ben should have had, I know Ben saw him and then kind of remembered what he did with the H in his chest, you know. He was right carving his name with a knife into Ben's chest. But I just thought there was like too many dynamics with the Losers Club and him, that he just kind of got killed off too quick. You know, how awesome would it have been if he like, maybe he got stabbed or something. Well, I mean, he already got stabbed and then survived. But like if he got stabbed and then he came back before the final confrontation with it, just like the last movie. I just thought it was kind of quick, and it was like kind of thrown in there. I don't know what it was like in the book. I don't know if it was the same thing, but in the movie it was just kind of quick. So I would have liked to see a little more of Henry Bowers, and I gotta say, with this casting, it's crazy how much they look like them. Like the old cast, the young cast and the adult cast, they look so similar, and they're all really great actors. I cannot say one performance that I thought wasn't good. I thought every performance was good. The casting choice was amazing. You have the when you do these sort of movies, a lot of times. Okay, I got the example. Han Solo. If you guys watched the Solo movie from Star Wars, Solo, a Star Wars movie, what they did was they brought in another actor, not Harrison Ford, to play a younger Han Solo. And it did not work for me. Nothing against Alden Ehrenreich, who played him. It just wasn't Han Solo. He did a good performance, but it's not Han Solo. No one in the world could have done it. So it's not his fault. It was no one in the world except Harrison Ford, because that's Han Solo. But with this, with this, I genuinely believed that those adults were those kids. The performances, and they look so much alike. These are top-notch actors. Like, these actors and actresses are really great. But at the same time, they look so much like the kids that you could really believe. Like, there's no, there's no, when you're watching, it's like, I just don't believe that they're the same people. It just doesn't look like that. That was the case during Han Solo. I couldn't believe that those were the same, that Alden Ehrenreich was Han Solo. I couldn't believe that. But with this, you could really believe it because of the performances and because of just, they look similar. Like, how crazy. Like, especially with Henry, like, they look so alike. And it's just insane. Even Eddie and Stanley, which let's talk a little about Stanley now. So, spoiler alert. We come from that. We already talked about a bunch of spoilers, but Stanley killed himself in the bathtub, right? Because at first it seems like he was scared to come back. Mike gave the call to everybody. You guys got to come home. You got to come home to Derry. And Stanley was too afraid, and he killed himself because he didn't want to come back. And then we started to hear that it was Pennywise who killed him. We started to hear that Pennywise killed him. I forgot what the message said, but at the restaurant with the fortune cookies were spelling out a message, and it said guess it could have killed Stanley. Guess it could have cut Stanley. Something like that. I don't know. Could it have cut Stanley? Something like that. So we thought it was Pennywise who kind of forced him to do that. But then at the end of the movie, we find out that he was too scared to come, and if he knew if he came to Derry, he wouldn't be able to accomplish the mission. And with him dead, that was the only way. He either had to die or do the sacrifice to defeat it. If he didn't die and he just didn't help defeat it, it wouldn't have worked. Which I guess it didn't work. Because now here's the thing. It didn't even work anyways. The ritual didn't work anyways. So maybe he just died for nothing. I guess. If the ritual didn't work, so he didn't really have to die. I don't know. Maybe there was something they all had to come back or whatever. I don't know. But now let's talk about Bill. Let's talk about Bill and that little kid, the Georgie-like kid. Man. So Bill has had a couple encounters with this young kid who kind of reminds him of Georgie. And, the kid it ends up that kid lives in Bill's old house. That kid saw Bill at the sewers. By the sewer drain. And Bill's like, do not leave this town right now. Leave this town. Tell your parents, make up an excuse, leave, because he wanted to protect them. Do not come near the sewer, and he sounds like a crazy man. So the kid's obviously not listening to him because he sounds like a crazy man. But then Bill sees that kid's skateboard, back at their hotel or wherever they're staying, and there's blood and saying, I forgot what the blood said, but it was there was blood and stuff, and it was and Bill realized it is going for that kid, and Bill cannot let it get that kid again because he feels that he needs to save that kid because he didn't save Georgie. This kid is like a Georgie to him. The kid lives in the same house. He's the same age as Georgie. He was playing near the drain, So Bill feels this responsibility. I have to save this kid. This is my second chance. I didn't save Georgie. I need to save the kid. So he goes to the festival where he heard the kid was, and now he's going into the fun house to go look for the kid. Where he sees the kid go into the fun house, so he follows. And first off, come on, it was empty. How was it so empty? That's a scary fun house. So now you have the House of Mirrors. Bill's looking for the kid, and you see Pennywise walk by, and Bill's trying to rescue the kid, but there's a glass wall between them, and Bill's I'm gonna get you out, and then he sees Pennywise on the other side, and Pennywise is trying to break the glass with his head. Oh my god! And I thought Bill was gonna save him, but it was too late. So now you have Bill who let the kid die twice. You have Bill who let the kid die twice. He let his brother Georgie die, and now this young kid. And although both of them weren't his fault, sure, you could say it was his fault, but he didn't intend for that to happen. There was no way he could have known, but it did happen, and it really fueled his fire to go seek it and get revenge. And he was going to go by himself, just like he did in the first movie. But then the Losers Club came together and said, you're not going by yourself. We're all in this together. We're all in this together. Sorry. I'm not just into it. I'm into everything. Well, maybe we'll do a High School Musical discussion one day. I don't know. But yeah, so I thought that scene was pretty terrifying. And then there was also that scene with the little girl. Oh my god, it's just you're watching these things and you're don't go there, don't go there, don't do this, don't do that, and then they end up doing it. Come on, so you had that little girl at the baseball game who is following that firefly under the bleachers, and then the firefly goes into the dark, and you see, and then it's revealed to be Pennywise who caught the firefly. It's hello. Hello. But then, man, let me just pause right here. Bill Skarsgård is amazing Pennywise. He's insanely scary. He's crazy good. I kind of wish they had more scenes with him. I don't feel like he was utilized as much as in the first movie. There were a couple scenes with him, but I felt like we should have seen a little more. And I felt like we should have seen a little more, and I felt like he should have been a little more, there was that one line in the trailer that really, this is when it set in for me that, I'm sorry, my hair's a mess. There was that one line in the trailer that it really set it in for me that this movie was, insane, that Pennywise was gonna go nuts. For 27 years, I craved you. I've thought about you. I missed you. That line from the trailer. Think about it. Just think about it. Pennywise sleeps every 27 years. And these kids, who the frick knows how long Pennywise has been alive, but no one's defeated him except for these kids. Actually, do we know that? Maybe someone defeated him like a million years ago or something. I don't know. But these kids come out and defeat him because they're not afraid of him. And they cause him to go back into hibernation and to not be able to eat and like stuff like that. You know, he wants to like eat the world or whatever. I don't know. But the kids defeated him. So just imagine his mindset. For 27 years, I missed you. I craved you. Like, oh my, that's insane. Imagine having, like, not a person, like, you know, like, sure, you have Henry Bowers, who was like, for 27 years, I've craved you. I miss you. You know, he probably thought that too. But at the same time, he's a person who was easily defeatable. Now you have it, who's like a freaking demon who could turn into a freaking spider, freaking granny with like naked granny 10 feet tall. Oh, like, oh my God. Like, you, like, it's just like, how do you like live with that? Like, how scary is that? Like, can you just imagine if you had a freaking demon saying, I've been thinking about you, getting revenge on you for 27 years. I've craved you. I missed you. Like that demon's going to be mad when he finds you. He's going to want that revenge. And I just felt like there wasn't, I got to rewatch the movie. I really want to rewatch it because there, a lot of stuff happened in the movie and I have my opinions now, you know, like from my first viewing right now, I'm going to say, I didn't see Pennywise missing these adults as much, you know, like I know he tormented the adults, like he tormented Bill by eating that kid, which I guess is pretty brutal, but I think there should have been more, like, you know, because he says, like, for 27 years, I missed you. He says that at the final confrontation when he's a spider. And it doesn't, like, you don't really think it's him, you know? It doesn't really look like, because it's just his face, and it's kind of weird. But I wish he said that when he was, like, in clown form, like, his whole body. And I wish he said that, like, earlier, you know? And I wish it was more, I just wish there was more Pennywise, and I wish there was more motive. I felt like it was just, he wasn't really as motivated. Like, he was kind of the same in the first movie, you know, he was doing that evil stuff, but I felt like he really should have had a vengeance for these kids or adults, you know. I felt like there should have been more, and I know there was a lot of that, but like, you know, like I felt like there should have been more just because of how severe the situation is. They defeated him. Like, my dude wants revenge. Like, it's gotta be all out of the park. So I'm gonna rewatch the movie and definitely form another opinion. So maybe we'll do another review on the It series. Maybe I'll do one on just It 1. But yeah. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise is amazing, and I thought there should have been more Pennywise. That's why I don't want the It franchise to end. I think there's so much mythology. I think there's so much to it. Like, Pennywise is so fascinating. Like, I'm telling you, I get scared. Like, I'm literally terrified of him. But I would be so happy if there was another movie to explore the mythology, because I like the mythology, you know. Sure, there's some exceptions, but my favorite shows and my favorite movies are the ones with the mythology. There's different aspects. Like, you can make a standalone movie from this because it's so big and it's so interesting. Like, this is a random example. Up. This is a random, I don't know why I thought of this. I was just thinking of, like, what kid movie did I like as a kid that could be expanded, and Up can be expanded because, you know, sure, you had the movie, but then, like, they go to Paradise Falls. Like, there could be a whole movie about Paradise Falls because it's such a big place and there's probably a story to tell, you know. There's just different things. So with this, like, I need to see Pennywise again, and I understand that if it was a movie based purely on Pennywise, you know, when you see him that much, you can't see him that much, or else you because he's a pure villain. You know, you have characters like I even heard Bill Skarsgård talking about this. You know, he tried to take inspiration from the Joker for his character, but the Joker is kind of a human, you know, who has some sort of emotion in some way, but Pennywise doesn't. So like that's why there can't be a movie like about Pennywise, but like there could be a movie with Pennywise in it, and I think they got to do that, and I think they will do that. I don't know what the box office numbers are for It 2. I'm sure they're out of the world because It 1 was a total success. I'm sure it's the same thing, but I don't think if they're smart, I think they'll do something again. I think they'll be creative. I think they will definitely explore another aspect of it. I don't get what it's there of it. I know that's a stupid joke that's literally used all the time. I just can't help it. But I just think it's such a big world that they really need to do more with it. And all right, so let's get back to that scene with the little kid. So basically, Pennywise is torturing that young girl. He's not torturing her. He's saying like, "Oh, I'm so lonely." Like people make fun of me all the time, and then she's like, "Oh, people make fun of me too because like she's like a scar or something here." And he's like, "Oh, that? I could just blow that away. You want me to blow that away?" And then she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, come close." And then she comes close, and he's like, "Okay, 1, 2." Ah, 3. Yeah. And then he eats her. Man. Now, what I don't understand, though... This gets me very curious. I'm actually very curious. Wait a second. I'm wondering with that little girl... She wasn't afraid of Pennywise, really. You know? Before he ate her. So why would he eat her? Why wouldn't he build up the fear? Because doesn't he like fear? Like with the kids, I mean, I know it's a movie. There's like some plot holes. Obviously, they're not going to just kill the main characters. But like with the original, with It 1, you know, when they were kids, like he could have killed them when they were like Pennywise could have killed Eddie when Eddie was terrified of him. But he didn't because he was seasoning his food. He was making him more fearful. But with this little girl, when Pennywise was talking to her, like she thought he was a good guy. Even with Georgie, and he still ate them anyways. Like, so that makes me a little confused. But you know, I mean, I guess they can't just kill all the main characters. You know, I mean, there's some sort like Pennywise could probably kill whoever whenever he wants. That's the only thing. I mean, that's the thing with all these horror movies. They could kill them whenever they want. They just don't for suspense. Yeah, that was another thing. Like, I know I mentioned that Pennywise was missing a lot of the movie. That he should have been in more in the movie. But yeah, like there were like that time when like when they're going down to the sewer to do the ritual, he wasn't there at all. Like that was just kind of baffled me. Like that he just wasn't there. Like what was he planning on doing? Like I mean like, why wouldn't he just stop them and eat them? Like, come on. Like, I don't know. Like, I felt like I was watching the Collider review on it, and they said something which I really agree with. Pennywise wasn't really in the movie that much, and even during that final confrontation when they were going to go do the ritual, he wasn't really there in the beginning. Like, when they were going... Up to the point where they did the ritual, there was like a whole like 30-minute segment of that, and you kind of forgot who the villain is. Like you kind of forgot what they're trying to stop because you know that who they're trying to stop is there, but he's not actually there. So that was the only thing. Overall, though, I love this movie, and I love this movie so much that I didn't even plan what I was gonna say here. I literally just talked about whatever, and it ended up being a 45-minute discussion. I literally thought this was going to be a 10-minute video. I'm not even kidding, because I didn't know how much, I didn't plan anything. I didn't know how much I would be able to remember, how much I would be able to talk about, but it just goes to show you how in depth this movie is. And I loved it, and I thought the ending, it was a horror movie, but at the same time it really pulled at your heart. Like I started to cry at the end. Like, the last scene brought a tear down to my eye. If there was more scenes after that, like the scene where Eddie died, that made me cry. But if there were more scenes after the final scene, I would have kept crying, because I started to cry during the final scene. I probably would have cried more if I were by myself, but since I was in a public theater, I just tried to hold it in. But yeah. So thank you guys for watching my review on It Chapter 2. Hopefully we get more It, so we could talk about, hopefully I could do another discussion maybe on It 1, even though I covered that here. We'll talk more It. And until next time, you'll fall too. You'll fall too. You'll fall too. Okay, now I'm scaring myself. And okay, it's daytime, so I think I'm good now, but at night, man, that's when the nightmares come. But it was a fun discussion. I enjoyed it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment, what did you think about it? Did you like it? Do you want to see another movie? If there was another movie, what movie would you like to see? Comment what you thought about It Chapter 2. Was it as good as the first one? I think I have to rewatch the first one and the second one. I have to rewatch it to get a more opinion. I only liked the first one a lot because it was the kids. I felt it was kind of more scarier, more intense. You know, there's kind of too much humor in this, which I like because I'm not a horror person. But at the same time, I do like to be scared. I do like to be scared. Except at night when I'm actually being scared, then it's not fun. But I'm going to have to rewatch the movies. But for now, I'd say maybe the first one. But I have to rewatch the movies. But yeah. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time on Drew Reviews. Time to float.